My name's Hannah, and the story I'm about to tell you happened when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I don't remember everything from that age, but this is one of those memories that never faded. If anything, it's only gotten clearer the older I get. It was Easter Sunday at the small church my family went to in Northern California. Every year, after the service, they held an Easter egg hunt for the younger kids. It was something everyone looked forward to. I remember being so excited that morning. My mom had dressed me in this pastel-colored Easter dress with little flowers stitched along the bottom. I felt like I looked just like the other girls in the cartoons I watched. Before the service started, we were walking through the parking lot toward the church. My mom stopped to talk to another woman from the congregation, and I kind of wandered a few steps away, just looking around. That's when I saw it. Behind the church was this large garden area, kind of fenced off by hedges and bushes, with bird baths, a small fountain, and decorations scattered throughout. Past that garden, there was a tree line, dense woods. Standing near the edge of that garden, just before the trees, I saw someone in a bunny costume. At the time, it didn't seem too strange. I figured it was just someone getting ready for the egg hunt. But something about it felt off. I could only see their back as they walked away from the garden and into the woods. What stood out to me, even as a kid, was how dirty the costume looked. It wasn't bright white like you'd expect. It looked stained, almost brown in places, like it had been dragged through mud or dirt. The fur looked clumped together, matted. I remember tugging on my mom's sleeve and trying to tell her about it, but by the time she looked, the figure was already gone, swallowed by the trees. She brushed it off, said it was probably someone setting things up. We went inside for the service. I don't remember much about the sermon because I was so excited about the egg hunt afterward. There were about a dozen of us kids, all sitting together, whispering and fidgeting, waiting for it to end. Once over, the parents led us out to the garden area behind the church. The adults gathered us together and explained the rules. The eggs would only be hidden in the garden, nowhere else. Not in the parking lot, not in the woods. We were told that very clearly. I remember someone counting us down, then we all scattered. The garden felt huge when you were that small. There were bushes and little statues, bird baths, and the fountain in the middle with water trickling down. Eggs were everywhere, bright plastic ones in pink, blue, yellow, and green. I found my first one tucked behind a flower pot. I remember opening it and finding a little chocolate wrapped in foil. I think it was one of those small chocolate eggs. Another one I found was near the base of the fountain. That one had jelly beans inside. Those classic, slightly stale ones you always got around Easter back then. I was so focused on finding more that I started drifting further away from the other kids. That's when I got closer to the edge of the garden, near the trees. And then I realized something. I was standing in the exact spot where I had seen the bunny earlier that morning. There was a narrow path there, barely noticeable unless you were looking for it, leading into the woods. And right there, just a little ways down that path, was an Easter egg. I remember stopping, confused. We'd been told there were no eggs in the trees. None. But there it was, not far in. I could still clearly see the church behind me. I could hear the other kids laughing and shouting as they ran around. So I stepped onto the path. I walked over and picked up the egg. It was light. I opened it, empty. I remember frowning, turning it over in my hands, thinking maybe the candy had fallen out somehow. But it was completely empty. That's when I looked up. Further down the path, deeper into the trees, there was another egg. This one was farther in, far enough that the shadows started to take over and the sounds from the garden were quieter. I don't know why I went after it. I didn't think about the rules. I didn't think about anything, really. I just wanted to see what was inside. So I kept walking. The trees closed in around me as I stepped deeper into the woods. The ground was uneven, covered in leaves and dirt. I remember the air feeling cooler there. I reached the second egg and picked it up. Again, it felt empty. I opened it. Nothing. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Fast. Uneven. Coming from deeper in the woods. At first I thought it might be one of the adults. Maybe someone had come to get me. But something about the way it sounded. It wasn't normal walking. It was too quick. Too erratic. I slowly looked up, and that's when I saw him. Standing a short distance away, partially in the sunlight filtering through the trees, was the bunny. But this time, I could see everything. The costume wasn't just dirty, it looked wrong. The fur was patchy, clumped together, stained dark in places. It didn't look like fabric anymore. It looked real, like actual animal hide. The suit clung to the person's body in a way that didn't make sense, like it had been worn for so long it had fused to them. In some places, it looked like it blended into skin. The figure itself was thin, unnaturally thin, like it hadn't eaten properly in a long time. And the face, the mask was warped. One side slightly lower than the other. The eye holes didn't line up right. Dull, lifeless, staring straight at me. It was holding a basket, an old Easter basket, faded and worn. I could see inside it, candy, the same kind from the eggs in the garden. It didn't move at first. It just stood there staring at me. Then slowly, it lifted the basket, like it was offering me something. I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe. Every part of me felt frozen, like my body didn't know how to react to what I was seeing. And then something inside me snapped. I dropped my basket and I ran. I turned and bolted back down the path as fast as I could. And then I heard it, running, behind me. I didn't look back. I just ran harder, screaming, crying, barely able to see through my tears. I burst out of the trees and into the garden, screaming for my mom. Everything after that happened so fast. Parents turned, kids stopped and stared, and then they saw it too. The figure stepped out of the trees behind me. The bunny, fully visible now in the daylight. I remember the screaming, all the kids running in different directions, adults shouting. For a second, it just stood there, like it hadn't expected all of that. And then it turned and ran back into the woods. My mom grabbed me, holding me tight while I cried into her shoulder. I remember hearing someone say they were calling the police. My dad, along with a few other men, ran into the trees after it. They were gone for a while. When they came back, they didn't have anything. They never found the person. But they did find something else. Deeper in the woods, they found a spot where it looked like someone had been living. There, a sort of makeshift shelter, a bed, old containers, and signs that someone had been there for a long time. And they found my basket, right where I had dropped it. All the eggs inside it had been opened, every single one. And the candy was gone. To this day, no one ever figured out who or what that was. But I know what I saw. And I know one thing for sure. That wasn't someone playing the Easter Bunny.